Championship weekend is here, everyone. Four teams left, but only two will move forward to the Super Bowl. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Breaking Entering podcast presented by Premium. He's Ed. I'm Brandon. Ed, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? There's only one team I hope doesn't make it to the Super Bowl. Please, Lord, don't let them make it. But we're going to get into it when we talk about these games. Let's get this opening drive started, shall we? The Titans are hiring former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Salah as their head coach. Eric Bieniemy is back in Kansas City as their offensive coordinator. Former Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson is joining the Buccaneers to run their offense. The Cowboys are bringing on Philadelphia's passing game coordinator and secondary coach Christian Parker to be their defensive coordinator. Giants senior vice president of football operations Kevin Abrams is leaving the team after 27 years. Lions offensive lineman Dan Skipper is retiring. The Ravens have hired Jesse Minter as their new head coach. The FBI is reportedly investigating Jim Irsay's death and recovery doctor of the Colts ex-owner. And an NFLPA lawyer reportedly fired by a union weeks after suing for alleged retaliation. Brandon, first of all, what are your thoughts on the Ravens hire as their new head coach?
Wasn't my first choice. Y'all know I wanted Brian Flores or Chris Shula were top two. Minner was linked to us since literally the minute John Harbaugh got fired. They were started, naming names on television, the insiders, and his name came in there. So kind of seemed like all signs were pointing that direction. I like that he's young though. He has ties to the Harbaugh tree. He's been in that building before from 2017 to 2020. Our defense was pretty good back then. So I am excited, but yeah, it wasn't my first choice, but we'll see how it goes for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think our defense should get better. Defensive minded guy, so we'll see how it goes. Then the Titans, Robert Saleh getting a new job. I don't know why I'm surprised by that. I mean, must be a good interviewer and stuff like that. Just thinking about his tenure with the Jets, and I'm wondering with the Titans seeing him and what that's going to happen with the Titans. But definitely was a little eyebrow raising for me seeing that he's getting another shot, especially with the Titans too. But who knows? Maybe he can turn that team around. See how that goes though.
Yeah, and there's no more loyalty anymore, man. A couple years ago, I mean, we've seen it years ago, but like a couple years ago, a lot of coaches went in division, and now we're seeing it again with this Philadelphia assistant going to be the Cowboys defensive coordinator. I think Eric Bieniemy is a good addition for Kansas City. A lot of their fans as well have been talking about that, and they said they're excited for the run game to hopefully get back to what it once was. And the Lions, man, they got a problem, man. They got another offensive lineman retiring. They had one retire last summer or last year, last off season, and they have another good one retiring this time. So we'll have to see how they retool up there in the Motor City. Definitely something to watch this off season.
Yeah.
All right, two teams in the AFC will battle it out for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Patriots and Broncos from Mile High, everyone. I feel like everyone's counting out the Broncos because of this Bo Nix injury, but it's not like their offense was the identity of this team. I think the Broncos can win for a few reasons. Their defense, number one. Number two, I think Sean Payton will try to impose a short, simple pass game for his backup quarterback coming in, and the special teams unit as well. We all know that that defense is top notch, but they got to buckle down and play better than last week. They gave up a lot of big plays, Josh Allen, but at the same time, they also proved that they could force turnovers to go along with their great pass rush. Jarrett Stidham on the other side, Sean Payton, those playmakers, they've probably been, meeting a lot this week, trying to figure out a good game plan to attack this defense of the Patriots, man, and tie down the loose ends. I think the first drive will be key for Denver. You got to get out to a good tempo. Get what you want going on that first drive. They always talk about those first 15 plays. A lot of coaches draw it up, how they want to, get it done. So we'll see how that goes as well. Their first series. Just get the ball out to your playmakers, man, Jarrett Stidham, man, and let those guys do the rest for you. You got a pretty good arsenal around you. They're not the best in the league, but they're pretty solid. I mean, it's helped get them to where they have been so far this season. I think the offensive line as well can step up, give him some more time to go through his reads. But them being at home will also be very beneficial as opposed to them having to go into New England or any other venue at this time of year. And then special teams, I think the returners, man, they can make a few plays as well to set up their offense with good field position. Because again, you want to try to make it as simple as possible for this backup quarterback. As for New England, man, their pass rush, they're hoping that it's going to be as effective as it was last week against Houston. I think they will have opportunities against Stidham. Um, he's not necessarily he don't have the legs like Bo Nix does, or the ability I think in that standard. So we'll see how that goes. But I also see on the other side of New England, Josh McDaniels and Drake May trying to utilize their tight ends against Denver's defense. That's probably their glaring weakness for Denver's really good defense. I'm looking out for Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper to have big games on Sunday afternoon. But my key matchup, though, is in the trenches. Denver offensive line. I talked about them a moment ago against New England's defensive front. Protection is key, especially against a guy that, basically hasn't had any regular season snaps or postseason snaps, hasn't played in a couple years altogether as far as regular, meaningful football. He's played in the preseason, but meaningful football. So yeah, Denver's offensive line versus New England's front will definitely is my key matchup for sure. I'm gonna roll the dice though, probably be wrong. I'm gonna go with Denver by 6, Ed. How do you feel?
Yeah, I said it in the intro. One of the teams I do not there's only one team I don't want to make the Super Bowl. It's from this game. Please, Denver, please do whatever y'all can to beat the Patriots, man. I do not want to see the Patriots get to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton kind of went viral this week talking about how the Patriots had like a Mickey Mouse road so far to the Super Bowl, dealing with the circumstances of different teams. The Chargers might have been excuse me, it wasn't the Chargers, but it might have been. Yeah, it was a Chargers. Might have been legit win, but you get the damn Texans and Lord, I ain't even gonna get all of that. But some of the reasons you mentioned are the same reasons I think the Denver has a chance. Talk about Denver's offensive line. They've given up the least amount of sacks this year. Their offensive line should be way better than the Texans' offensive line. I think they only gave up 23 sacks in the whole year. They got a bunch of guys on the offensive line who can do better things than the Texans can. So I'm thinking they should be able to run the ball a little bit better. RG Harvey, there's a chance they get J.K. Dobbins back too. I think he's been practicing a little bit. And just keep it simple for us to them. You throw it to the running back, use your tight end some, lean on Cortland Sutton. Just whatever you do, don't turn a damn ball over 3 to 4 times and throw up a damn gift and let it be turned into a pick six like somebody did last week and put your team in a hole, man. Don't turn the ball over, run the ball, protect the quarterback. And that's a victory, key to the victory right there. And then you talked about too the Denver Broncos defense. Their offensive line giving up the least amount of sacks, and their defense had the most amount of sacks this year too. And we saw it throughout the playoffs, specifically in the Texans game. Will Campbell was getting beat like a drum last week against Will Anderson. I can definitely see Nick Benito, whoever lines up on him, beating him like a drum, forcing a sack, maybe even a strip sack, fumble on Drake May too. I think he had about 4 or 5 sacks last week against the Texans. I think the defensive line or the front seven of the Denver Broncos matches up just as well as the Texans do. So it might be another long day for Will Campbell. And then on the other side of the ball, I think the other lineman is Morgan Moses. Played with the my team back in the day, but he gave up some sacks last week too. So I can definitely see Drake May having some issues back there against this Denver team. A guy you talked about for Denver that I'm probably going to hear his name a lot. You talked about him earlier this year, Riley Moss, one of the cornerbacks. How he
Yeah,
always gives up a pass interference or something like that.
yeah.
I can definitely see that happening. Drake May looking for Douglas, Diggs, Boot, one of those 3 guys, and he making a panic type play, holding somebody, or you just get deep and trying to make up on the play and having the pass interference. Hopefully, if that does happen, it doesn't happen in a crucial moment. but I definitely could see Riley Moss' name get called in a bad way. So I'm looking to see how that matchup goes. But if the Denver Broncos can keep pressure on Drake May for the rest of the game and force him in some bad throws, I like Denver's chances of winning. But I gotta go with the Patriots. Unfortunately, I just think the stars are aligned for them. The damn backup quarterback get Bo Nix gets hurt, so the last drive of the game, basically,
Yep.
and now, he only got to deal with the backup quarterback. Hopefully, Denver's defense plays lights out and they can stop the Patriots. But I'm just leaning to the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, he's been, playing very good in the playoffs. The Bills were able to run the ball on the Broncos last week. I can definitely see the Patriots running the ball on the Broncos too. And like you said, those tight ends, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and crew. I know the Broncos have been dealing with a little bit of issues with dealing with the tight end, so I can definitely see Drake May making a couple plays to the tight end in some crucial moments. I think it'll be a close game. I just think the better quarterback is going to make more plays to win the game, and I feel like the Patriots will somehow find a way with the lead, play with the lead, and win. I don't know Denver will be able to the opposition or the position, excuse me, to, come
Sure.
from behind in the game. I think Patriots going to come out maybe a field goal or two, take the lead, and then play with that. And then Denver it'll change up the whole game plan when they're trying to score and do certain things. And I don't know. I think the stars align for the Patriots. They ain't gonna make it to the damn Super Bowl, and I'm not looking forward to it. Oh God, help me. That's all I got.
All right, everyone. This episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD infused products, which are a perfect after workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures in mint and natural flavors. They are veteran, women, and minority owned. So come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is www.premium.com. And now back to our show. Rams at Seahawks part 3 for the NFC title game. Ed, Fox will have this one on their airways.
Yeah, man. I think this will be honestly. I think this is the Super Bowl. I think whoever wins this game is going to go into the Super Bowl and win. In my opinion, I think both of these teams can beat both of the teams on the AFC side. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Rubber match out here. The third time these teams played. The second time they played, Week 16. It was pretty much a shootout. Rams got out early, but then the Seahawks came back. Rashid Shaheed kind of sparked that with his return for a touchdown to special teams. I think after that game or a little bit later on, the Rams fired their special teams coordinator. So see how that works out. And if the special teams is a big factor in this game again. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this game. Seahawks got the number one scoring defense, and the Rams got the number one scoring offense. Sam Darnold, I think, just needs to play enough to manage the game. Just be a game manager. Hopefully, they don't need him to win the game, even though he's shown he can do that. But playoffs, I don't know. Do what he needs to do to win this game, manage the game. Hopefully, the defense can figure out a way to not have Puka Nacua go off like a bomb on them like they did in Week 16, and maybe the Seahawks will come out with this game. But I think the loss of Zach Charbonnet, one of their running backs for the Seahawks, is a huge loss in my opinion. He's like a short yards time of back every time they get in the red zone goal line. I know a lot of people who play fantasy football get mad at him when they take Kenneth Walker out and put him in the game. They say, "Oh, he's stealing Kenneth Walker's touchdown," but Zach Charbonnet was a huge part of that Seahawks offense. Him tearing his ACL, I think that's going to be a huge loss. And then on the Rams side of the ball, I just like Matt Stafford a lot bit more than I like Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Now he didn't have the greatest game last week against the Bears. I don't know, maybe it was the weather. I know they said he was dealing with like one of his fingers, I think it's the middle finger, he was dealing with issues with. So that could have thrown him off too. But when they needed to make a play happen, Matt Stafford usually was making plays happen. So that is the main reason. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Rams. I just think overall, I like their pieces on the offensive side and the defensive side. I'm not saying that their defense is better than the Seahawks, but I think they're a well balanced team enough to fight off the Seahawks. and we've seen Matt Stafford light up the Seahawks defense. They're going against,
Yeah.
like I said, the number one scorer defense, but Matt Stafford probably have a way to figure them out. And then they got Kyron Williams, they got my boy Blake Corum, Go Blue, former Michigan running back out there too. So I think it's going to be the Rams. And I haven't even talked about the Rams tight ends yet. They've been making a lot of plays in the playoffs this year. Parkinson and the other fellow whose name escapes me at the moment. But I'm leaning towards the Rams. I do think it'll be a close game. I think the Seahawks can potentially, especially since it's in Seattle, those 12s, as they call it, they're gonna make a lot of noise out there. I could definitely have them, affect them when a play or two where they got a Stafford or somebody got to call a timeout because they can't get the playoff, they can't get the protections right, they got an audible, something like that. But I think close game, but I'm leaning to the Rams. I just think Stafford's the better quarterback, and he's gonna make more plays. He's gonna make more important plays and win the game. So give me the Rams in a close one. Brandon.
I'm working with the Rams as well, man. Both regular season games were quite tough for Sam Darnold. He was responsible for 6 interceptions between the two of them. The main difference in that win that you mentioned later in the season, I believe it was week 16, was the fact that Kenneth Walker got going and Rashid Shaheed made a big splash play on special teams. It kind of got that crowd back into it, got the team back into it as well. I think they were down 2 touchdowns at that point. I feel like this Rams pass rush can generate enough pressure against Sam Darnold to force a few more bad throws and a few more turnovers. The run lanes, I think, will be there against this LA run defense, but I think that front seven can buckle down at the latest at halftime, because that's when you try to make those adjustments and start forcing Darnold to beat them with his arm. Special teams will be key in this one, man. You've mentioned all year how how LA has struggled with their special teams unit. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they continue to get big plays out of especially the return unit, Shaheed, including the kickoff return for a touchdown last week. And again, back in the regular season matchup in week 16, as I just mentioned, he ran a punt return back for a touchdown and got them back in that game. But I agree with you. I trust Matthew Stafford a lot more than Sam Darnold. I trust the LA playmakers a little bit more than Seattle's. No disrespect to them. JSN is a beast, but you still got Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, the tight ends, Kyron Williams out there. All those guys with Seattle are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And then LA's coaching staff as well. That also factors into it. They've been here before. They've been to the championship game. They've been to a Super Bowl, which is hopefully where they're going. If you're a Rams fan, they'll have an impact on this game as well. The Rams have proven that they can win without Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams having their best game. So I'm really going to be watching how Seattle matches up against their LA's 13 personnel. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. That's 2 tight ends and 1 back. You also mentioned the tight ends as well. It's been successful for them all season long. And when you think about it, they run that 13 personnel so much, but you still got Puka Nakua. If he's not first in the league in receiving yards, he's second. I can't remember who is. And Devontae Adams on the other side, I believe he's leading the league in touchdown receptions. So that's saying something. When you can run that, you still got pretty good tight ends, and you've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the National Football League out wide. If I'm a Rams fan, no, I am a little bit worried about this Seattle defense making some plays. They've been doing that all season long. But in the end, I think that LA can win another close one. I'm going to go 28-26 with the Rams advancing to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara.
Okay, let's get into our parlays of the week then. I got the Patriots, unfortunately, and the Rams as my parlay of the week. Brandon, who you got?
Give me the Rams and the Broncos. Denver's defense, I think, will propel them to victory. And then LA's offensive playmakers, they're going to show up in this one. They had a tough game last week in the NFC divisional round. So I think they're going to come back and really make some noise and remind people who they are. And then their special teams will not let them down this time either. I know it's been a problem for them all year, but I see them getting over that hump. Again, coaching matters as well. You got Sean McVay, one of the best in the business. I think he's going to have those guys ready to play. And then you got Sean Payton on the other side, my other team that I'm picking, veteran head coach. I think he'll have his guys ready to go as well. So Rams and Broncos.
Got you. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for another episode of Breaking Entering Podcast. Before we go, though, the UFC is back this weekend, everybody. We got Patty Pimblett taking on Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight title. We got some boxing on, too. Andy Cruz, Raymond Martella, the lightweight bout. I think that's going to be a pretty good fight. So check those two events out if you can. UFC is on Paramount Plus now. And the boxing fight is going to be Daz and DAZN, however the hell you say it, DAZN. I never really figured that pronunciation out. But yeah, as always, want to thank everybody who takes time out of their schedule. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Look for Breaking the Entering Podcast, B&E Podcast. Look for us on X or Twitter, Podcast B&E. And follow us on Instagram as well at B&E Podcast. And we'll see y'all next week to break down the outcomes of these games. Peace.